Buenas noches, profesora. Buenas noches, estudiantes. Siendo pues, este tiempo, pues damos inicio a nuestra sesión número 7 de Perfil del adulto en situaciones de aprendizaje. Esta clase está siendo impartida por la profesora Vivian Vargas. Al momento la profesora no ha ingresado a la sala. Vamos adelantando con los parámetros de la sesión. Estudiantes, estos son los parámetros de las sesiones por videoconferencia. Las sesiones se graban. Podemos verlas nuevamente desde nuestra plataforma virtual. Les solicitamos que por favor silencien su micrófono y puedan activarlo cuando quieran hacer consultas o aportes con el permiso del docente. Les pedimos que mantengan su cámara activa. De no poder hacerlo, me excusa por el chat de Zoom. O de lo contrario, serán retirados de la sesión y les serán restados puntos de la valoración del docente. Mi rol como moderador es facilitarles y apoyarles en la parte técnica. Consultas las hacemos por el chat personal o general. Les exhorto a tener bolígrafo y papel para hacer sus anotaciones y aprovechar al máximo estas sesiones que tienen un tiempo de duración de 60 minutos o una hora. Profesora, ¿cómo está? Buenas noches. Está muteada, profesor. Está muteada.
Discúlpame, estoy angustiadísima porque esto se volvió loco y bueno, pero ya estoy aquí. Buenas noches, Rafa. ¿Puedes compartir, por favor, eh, los parámetros? ¿O ya los
Sí,
compartí?
antes de que usted entrara, ya los había compartido, porque ya me dijo Lili que ya estuvo entrando, así que ya
Ah,
adelante. Sí, ya puede
perfecto.
empezar cuando guste.
Muy amable, gracias. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I'm very happy to see you guys, and I'm so sorry I had a problem with my computer, and then but here I am. Okay, so let's go and let's see what's going to happen today. Okay, we are here. Let me go and let me show it to you so we can do everything that we need to do. Give me a moment. Give me a second. Give me a second. Over here, I'm where I'm not supposed to be. Give me a moment, and I'm coming with you. So, this is Andra Goyi, perfil del adulto en situaciones de aprendizaje. Okay? And guess what? We are here. Sorry, I'm going to put this down. We are here, and this is class number 7 in the module number 5. What about that? You are about to finish this module, and you are about to get a step closer to your goal, to get your diploma, to be able to work in what you want to work. Okay, I'm very happy because of that. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the video that we have, the topics that we have for today. So let's wait for this as you can see over here, it's just downloading, it's uploading, so we have to wait a little bit. In the meantime, let me show you what we have here. Andragogy, or Perfil del Adulto en Situaciones de Aprendizaje, Module 5, class number 7, okay, by your instructor, Vivian Vargas. While this is loading or uploading, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Welcome to this last class, well, not last class, last module, okay? And remember the instructions, comfortable and with no distractions, just for you to be able to focus on what you have to do. Read and understand objectives. That's something we always do at the beginning and at the end of the class, and we will do today as well. And then it says work tasks in order, okay? Now, what happens? What are the class objectives? It says, examine some guidelines for teaching English to adults. And the other one is recognize how the different English teaching methods can be combined in the classroom. Those two things are the things that we're going to be seeing this model over, although today we are going to focus only on one, okay? So we are going to be talking about only about the first objective, okay? Just give me a second, please, and let me go with you for a second. A second before we plan what we are doing today. Give me a moment. I'm looking for the information. I don't know why this is not uploading as it should. Give me a moment. Let me go here. and I'll be able to see this for you guys. Let's go. Okay, in the meantime, let's continue looking at the, let's continue looking at the PowerPoint. So, in order to have this question solved, what are some tips to teach adults or adults? It says, what are 5 tips for teaching English to adults? We're going to be checking the video, okay? The video number 1 that we have in the thing. I'm going to be stopping as we advance. I'm going to be stopping, and I expect you to be there for me, and then I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions because nobody's here, but I expect you to be able to answer the questions I ask you in your mind, and then I will answer them myself, okay? Now, people, remember, you have to do, this is only one last class to come for next October 24th, and it's important that you guys do your tests, upload your homework, and do everything that you need to, okay? So let's go with the video first. I'm sure it's gonna let me do it there, so let me go here and play it for you, although I have to do this again because I need to play the sound, to share the sound. So let's go here and, uh-oh, what is this? This didn't happen last week. Let me go. Maybe I made a mistake over here. Let's go again to module number 5. I'm sorry, this is a technical mistake, but we are gonna be okay. Let's give it some moment to do this. So what do you think are some tips to teaching adults? You remember, in order to teach adults, we have to take into consideration the Malcolm Knowles theories or principles, everything that he said about how to teach adults. You remember which they are? We talk about, what was it? Readiness to learn, need to know, self-orientation, motivation, experience, and one more that I always forget. You just bear with me. So when we have those things that's the basis. When you have those things into consideration, you say, they bring experience. How can I use, then you're gonna make activities where they can use their experience and join it with what you are giving them. Orientation, self-orientation. You need to give them something that helps them. They have a mind or motivation. The motivation is internal. At the very beginning of the class, you learn that the company of one of your students, or where he works for, they have what's the name? They are telling their employees that if they get a postgrad or a master's degree, or if they study English, they will be able to get a promotion and a better salary. So it's right there. Okay, so you have to use that motivation that they have in order to give them something, and then to give them a reason for them to want to stay and to do it. Not only that you want, not only the fact that they have another motivation, and using that motivation, you go and do your best to teach them the best as you can. I have taught in English to adults. I have taught adults in university. I have taught children as well. And the difference is huge, because the adults are there because they want to be there. For all those reasons, they want to be there. And it's more challenging in the sense that they are there, and since they have experience and maybe they have some previous knowledge or anything, they are there because and they want to know that you are able to do it. It has happened to me. You see, I go to a university and then I see that the woman says, okay, and then she doesn't know how to pronounce words, and then she speaks nonsense the whole class, and I'm like, what? You see, so it's a little bit more challenging if you are not well prepared, but if you are prepared, it's the maximum, because they are willing to do what you ask them to do, and they enjoy doing it because you are taking them one more step to their success in their lives. Okay, so let's go here and let's see What are the tips that they have to share? And let's hope for the better. Yes, they have it here. Let's go. Let's wait for these two. Open over here.
Hello, this is Mahalia with Impact Teaching, and today I'm just going to talk about the good things about teaching adults here. I teach adults online and in classroom, and I've enjoyed it since I've started teaching adults. And the good things about it are the fact that you can, go more into depth with your conversation classes, because of course, they're, even if they might know the English word, their vocabulary is just more extensive on subjects, in current affairs and everything like that. Also, you can be more, or I should say there's more variety in the conversation as far as like you can go a little business English, a little medical English, a little legal English. So there's like different things that you could talk about in the classroom. One thing I like to teach adults is grammar. Because they find it difficult at first. They might be a little scared, but once they do learn it, they utilize it so well, and they really want to study it and to continue to practice it because they want to perfect their English. Not saying that my younger learners don't do this as well, but when you teach adults, you're specifically asking them what exactly are you learning English for, because they need to learn English more than likely for their job, or for potential job field that they are interested in being employed in. So you're looking.
Okay, so let's stop there and let's see. First, she says that they have more vocabulary. They are interested in things like commercial English, medical English, legal English, business English. And then because of the knowledge they have, they may know they work with a company and they may not know specifically how to speak English, but they do know certain terms and then they bring them into the classroom. Okay, first. Second, now she's talking about how she enjoys adults and how it's different from children because of their motivation. Again, the principles that Michael Knowles established are right there. Let's go.
So when you teach adults, like you are targeting your lessons around what they specifically need. So my lessons could be around working in technology, or it could be about working in insurance. It depends on what they might need. So that's a benefit of teaching adults. Some tips for teaching adults: still use games. Even though, yes, they're adults or whatever, think games might be a little kiddie, but they still love games. So still use vocabulary games like Snake, for example, where you have to say a vocab word and then the next student has to say another vocab word with that letter ending the last vocab word. So like still use flashcards. Still use those things that you teach your younger learners. Those are, adults like those, and they like to study with those as well. My next tip is...
Okay, so the first one, she says, it doesn't have to be boring, okay? And they do enjoy it. And you know what else they enjoy? Smiley faces, teachers. They are adults, yeah, but they love them. Even with the students in high school, you think like 12th graders or 11th graders, they would be like, I don't care about stickers, but they love them. So the same happens with adults. They love these kind of things. And then the games, these kind of things that makes them, they are teaching games because you use them to teach something. But at the same time, it's fun for them and they enjoy it. That's one of the tips she gives.
Is to give homework. Give homework to your adult students, even though, yes, they have very busy lives and they have their work and they might have children, or they might be part of a social club, whatever. But they appreciate the fact that they can take from the English lesson and continue to study it during their times. Yes, you're going to get a lot of, Mahalia, I'm so sorry, or to say your name, I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to complete my homework. I had this to do, that to do. Just continue to encourage them to do their homework assignments and everything. And of course, don't make it as, super long for them. It could be a vocab exercise I do or grammar exercise I might give them. Nothing too extensive for them to just not have the time to do it or do it all. So like little short homework assignments are really good for adults as well.
Okay, good. Thank you. Now, everybody today is like against homework. Everybody's like, oh, homework, homework. Oh, no, homework. The children shouldn't have homework. People shouldn't have homework. Homework is useless and things like that. However, the time that you spend there in a class, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't know, maximum 4 hours a day, or 1 hour every day, or so every other day, or something, or every week, whatever, it's not enough. You see? So you don't have to put this super extensive homework. But for example, I remember my friend lives in Boston. She had a stepdaughter. And then she told me that she was at school, and then in math, every day there was a program. The school had a program that every day when she came home, from home, she had to enter the program, and she had to, there was like a timer. And then she had to practice for 15 minutes any assignment that the teacher had left. 15 minutes of practicing math, they suppose they were having multiplication of two numbers. So for 15 minutes, you had to practice that to get it. That was it. You see? So you don't want to give them such a long homework that they really don't have the time, because these people have busy lives. And as she said, they simply don't have the time. And so people are going to bring excuses. However, if you give them the right quantity, it's going to be easier for them. Tell them, get the moment you're having lunch or something, you finish having lunch and you still have 10 minutes or something, you advance it, that you do something. You come here to whatever you're studying, and then you come a little bit before. You are here before, 15 minutes earlier because of the traffic. And then you just do it there, you see? And that way they keep practicing. That helps them to reinforce what they have learned, but it's not going to be so long that they're going to say, no way, I'm not going to continue doing this. This is too long. Let's continue.
My third tip, and this might, of course, move on to any student that you might have, regardless of age, but it is to allow them to talk as much as possible. Because if you have I'll just say, for example, a lot of my adults here started out in school learning English, but then they just took a long break and they just lost their conversation skills with English. So my good tip is to make sure that they talk as much as possible, because they might be just scared to talk in English just in general. But to encourage them to like give them open and answered questions back to back to get them to talk as much as possible, because then all that vocabulary that erased their minds is going to come back and everything. Even in me, who used to speak Spanish. I used to speak Spanish, and I've lost my conversation skills just from not being able to use it. But I do know when I do have a little language exchange with a Spanish-speaking person that it starts to come back. So yeah, so to get them to talk as much as possible to help them remember all the words and phrases that they forgot.
Yes, in my case, I learned English as not an adult, as a teenager. I was 16. From 16 to 18, no, to 16, 17. Yeah, 16, 17 years old, half 18, yeah. I was learning English. And then I worked with English for a while and everything. But the last 2 years before I came to Panama, I worked with no English at all. I didn't have to use English when I was working. So, I came here to Panama, and then I got a job, my first job in a nursery teaching babies, pre-K. And then I thought, oh, maybe I had forgotten it. No. As soon as I went in there and I started talking, everything started coming back. And I was like, I'm good at this. I'm good at this. I was impressed myself that I didn't forget anything, you see? So it's like riding bicycle. At the very beginning, you can be kind of nervous, but later on, you will do it confidently because you won't forget that. So the same thing happens here. Some of them, as I told you, let's suppose, if it's an Afro-American student, that his parents maybe spoke English to him sometimes, but it was broken English, and now he needs some formal English. And then he's studying English because he wants to learn it properly, okay? So you need to give them the grammar thing, the grammar, but then you need to give them the opportunity to practice those grammar structures within the classroom, okay? That's what she's saying.
Fourth tip is to always criticize with encouragement. Not criticize. Always correct their English with encouragement. For example, was and were is really hard for some of my students to do. So, if they say I were going to the post office, you wanted to say, hey, thank you for sharing, but I need you to make sure that you remember I was going to the post office, and make sure you use your past simple verbs correctly. Always do it with positivity. Try not to harshly critique or to correct someone, because it makes people, nervous to speak after that. So always positive.
Yes, that's true. Now you're going to find different kind of people. Some people, they just want you to come straight and they have no problem, but some people are going to make, a drama out of it. So yes, the best thing that you can do is to try to say something good and then to correct for something. Like, I like your pronunciation, it sounds beautiful. Just be careful and remember that the ed sound of the words at the end, they have a rule for that, okay? We have seen it before, so I need you to practice it again, okay? Yes, teacher, yes. So next time they will do the same mistake, but they will make the same mistake, but that's a different story. But yes, it's important to correct with encouragement.
And my fifth tip is to allow, if it's possible, allow your students to sometimes choose their topics for conversation class, because then it might be relevant to their work. It might be, relevant to their personal life that they might need it for. So sometimes it helps when your students can choose topics that they want to talk about. And of course, this happens a lot with conversation classes, and it also encourages them to speak more in the classroom. So, sometimes I tell my students, okay, the next 3 classes, what do you want to talk about? And I'll find articles or something, or video. And sometimes they're like, oh, you choose. But sometimes I encourage a little stronger for them to choose and everything. It's something that's relevant to them, and I can make the class, I can make the topic to help the entire class to speak on it. So sometimes it helps to have your students choose the topics to encourage speaking in the classroom.
So she gives a tip over here, and then she says that sometimes, not always, you should let your students choose the topic that they want to talk about to converse in the classroom. And yes, it depends on the level they are, and then depending on the level where they are, then they will be able to handle this. If not, if they are in a very low level, it's going to be a little more difficult for them. But if they're in an upper level, you can give them. Even what I do, what I used to do, because now I'm teaching teenagers. But what I used to do is that I used to give them a list of topics so they could choose from those topics. Because, sometimes, for example, my students right now, they have to write a drama. And I told them, nothing immoral, nothing illegal, nothing violent. And they were like, so what do we talk about? You see, and they're teenagers, they're, looking for things in life. And I was like, no, it cannot be anything that is illegal or immoral or violent, okay? So you narrow things, but then I can put like a list of prompts that they can use, okay? Let's go.
So those are my 5 tips, and I, use them as often as possible. And yeah, the adults are great. They're great to teach and everything, especially if they already have like knowledge of English and they're about intermediate. Most of my students are between high A2 and C2. So I've never really got an adult where I really taught like the ABCs to. Always, usually they've known some English, so or learned some English. Sorry. So it's not that bad, and yeah, it's fun. We have a lot of fun in class. I still do games.
Okay. So just recapping what she said, and let's stop here for a moment. Just recapping what she said, and then she's talking about doing things like fun things, having them choose their conversations, correct with encouragement. Those are some of the things that she said that we should do about. Which one do you think is the most important one? Okay. For example, in my case, yes, it's nice to make games, sometimes, but usually they focus more, young people or older people, they focus more on the game than on the thing that they are supposed to be learning. So that part is like, for example, I guess you have heard of Kahoot. So I play a Kahoot and but then they start putting names that it's not their names and they have to be, hey, no, that name, and they have to be erasing. So we waste time over there. And then, okay, let's suppose that they put the right name. And then some of them, they just fail on purpose. And then some of them, you see, and then they're laughing and then but they don't focus on what they have to focus. So I do like games, but not that much. About correcting, yes. So we're all in this world where everyone gets so sensitive about everything. So we need to be careful with that. Letting them choose their own topics, it's good. Overall, if they are in an intermediate to an upper level, those are things that they can use. Okay, good. Let's continue. Let's see what we have now. Let me close this video, and then let's go ahead. And let's go to the next one. It says, so we have the video. And then now we have the class activity that is tips for teaching adult learners. It says, please read the info and get ready to explain to classmates and teachers about the different tips explained. You have 10 minutes to read, take notes, and get ready. That is the activity that I have ready for you. You are supposed to read it and you were going to explain it to me. So you would have the opportunity to speak, okay? But since nobody's here, I will have to read. Let's go ahead and then check. Go here. Coming. Here we have. Now it says, tips for teaching English to adult learners. Teaching adult students is different to teaching children and teens. Yes, a lot. According to several studies, how people learn and acquire a language can change with age. Loro viejo no da la pata, they say. Let's explore a few tips and suggestions. Definitely it's more difficult, mainly because you're busy, So when you are a student, you have a fresh mind, you are young, you go to school, you don't have anything to worry about because your family, your parents, they have to worry about how are they going to feed you, or if you're always hungry. But then when you're an adult and then you want to go and learn a language, for example, then you're worried. I have to go to the supermarket. I have to iron the clothes. I have to do this. I have to do that. So it's more difficult for you to focus only on what you have to focus. Now, number one, be open to change. It says every lesson is a solution to a problem. So find out what the problem is, and then you will have the solution right in your hands, okay? It says that usually adult students, they have different levels of ability, and then you have to maybe change your plans a little bit and improvise. And this is true. Be open to change. Yes, you make a plan. You need to make a plan because you cannot go into a classroom like, what I'm going to do today, let me see. And then on the way, just to put it, no, you cannot do that. Once a teacher I had in university, she came and then she was like this, and she was in the computer at the beginning of it, and she said, look, Beth, you can do this. And then she sent us to her. You can do this, and then she sent it to us through the platform, and said, yeah, do that. You can do that. She wasn't prepared. That's not good. That's not fair. That's not what they're paying you for. You need to be prepared for your class. Now, be open to change. So you do have a plan, but sometimes on the way you find that what you had prepared was too low for them, or maybe too advanced for them, and then you say like, no way, We are not going to do it this way. Build rapport. When you build rapport, you build a connection, with your students. And then some things that you do, some ways that you do it is to learn the names, because you cannot say is, ¿cómo te llamas tú? No, we cannot be doing that. Some people are easier. For example, in my case, in the first 10 minutes of classes, I already know my students' names. But some people, I have some teachers that they have been there like the whole year, and the end of the year comes and, ¿cómo que se llama eso? No me acuerdo. You see, overall, if that student doesn't participate that much or anything, and that's not okay. Can you imagine how can that an adult or a child or a teen or whatever make feel? So show interest in the lives outside the classroom. Hey, how are you? How is your family? How are your sons? What have you done? Make eye contact. This is important. I always tell my students, look into my eyes. I'm talking to you. Okay? It's important when you talk to them, you look at them you cannot be looking at everything else but them, because that shows insecurity, and it shows that they are not important for you. Include activities to get to know each other. Overall, at the beginning of the course, you can make, I used to make like an Instagram thing. I make like an Instagram, and then they fill out, and then from there I know their nicknames, their favorite meals, and things like that. So allow questions about your teaching experience. How long have you been teaching, teacher? Where did you teach before? Things like that, okay? Show respect always. We need to be respectful to them. Vary activities, for God's sake. Okay, you have them sitting, then you have them up doing something, and then you have them looking for something, and then you have them, you see, you do things. Then praise them. It's important that you praise them. Good job. I love it. I see you have improved. Excellent. I love the way you did it. Super, super nice. Wonderful, astonishing, heartwarming. All those kind of words that you can use according to the situation, and of course, as they earn them, okay? Switch it up. And then it says, make sure to include activities for each learning style and for different needs. Some might need to improve with conversation skills, others might need to write better, and there might be a few who only need better pronunciation. Find out why they want to learn English and help them, okay? So this is what we call nowadays in pedagogy, we call it differentiation, which makes a teacher's job way more difficult, because then you have to have like a class for these ones and a class for these ones, kind of is complicated. So it says, be authentic, bring personal experiences, because then they can see that you're a human as well, just as them, and you make mistakes, and it's okay. And then when you show that to your students, you show that you're human, that you are just a person, and they feel more comfortable, and it's gonna make it easier for them to trust you. Use humor. You laugh. You laugh with them, not laugh at them. You laugh with them. You laugh about yourself, and you simply laugh, and you make things, and you say things, and then, for example, we are reading a book. They are supposed to read a book at home. So we have had some trouble with that, and coordination asked me to make a summary of the thing, the class before the graded activity, the quiz they have. So I go there, and then I go so we have this man. He was, very fitty-fitty. Then they laughed. Very fitty-fitty. He was there. They said he was afraid to open his eyes because he thought the enemy was going to be there. But instead, he wrote, there was a girl. And I think she and I are friends. And then the voices I make, the movements I make. And then she was there. And then, for example, at that moment, when she said that, when Lisa said that, Rosa took the wooden spoon, and then she beat her until Lisa was on the floor, at least for 3 hours. She couldn't move. So when Rosa finished beating her, she said, I'm sorry, Lisa. But she wasn't sorry because of the hiding. Papa Lisa, she wasn't sorry because of the hiding. She was sorry because she knew that Lisa was not going to receive any answers to the letters that she had sent. You can see their faces. Nobody moves, nobody talks when I'm saying that. When I'm telling the story and I'm making the movements, and then some of them laugh at me. That's the idea, that they laugh. I don't want them to be. So whenever I start switching voices and they look at each other, that's the idea, that they laugh. You don't have to have all the answers. My students ask me, teacher, I have a question. And then I say, I may have an answer or not. And then they laugh. Because we don't have to have all the answers. We are not dictionaries. Many of us weren't born like in an English-speaking country, but that doesn't mean we are not able to communicate, and that doesn't mean that our English is not good enough to be able to teach. And then we have bring your lessons into the 21st century. So you have to use what they use, okay? Voice notes, emojis, texting, social media, videos, things that you can use. Everything that you can bring into the class that is not something that is going to affect anyone, it's something that is good for them. Okay, and since we finish here, guys, very short. Let's review it. Be open to change. Yes, you have a plan, but if you see that things are not like you planned them, you can improvise a little bit. Build a rapport. Okay, try to build a nice relationship with them to create a bond by learning their names, by telling about yourself, by making eye contact, by making activities so they know about each other, being respectful, by making different activities, and by praising them. Switch it up. You need to adapt the different what's the name? Activities to the different weaknesses that they have. Okay, weaknesses, debilidades that they have in the language. Be authentic. Be you. They love to know about you. They love to know that you are human. Use humor. You have to laugh. Laugh at yourself. Laugh with them, but not laugh at them. And you have to recognize that you're human and you don't know all the answers, and that's okay. And then if you are not sure about something, you can just go ahead, tell them, I'm not sure about that. I'm going to find out and I'll be back with you. Okay. So, and then after that, we have bring your lessons into the 21st century. Something, for example, I see students still like, I don't know, there are certain things in the curriculum that I'm like, nobody uses that anymore. Nobody writes letters to someone some other place and send it by mail. People just chat in a couple of seconds they have communicated. You see, and then like, well, they have to write and then they have to learn what to put here and what to put there. And and most likely when they go to university and when they start to work, they will have to look for that because they're not gonna remember how to do that. So you see, it's not very, it doesn't make lots of sense to me. So you need to keep it real and you need to keep it into some studies for this work. Now, what happens? Let's continue here and let's go to what we have for later. If we have something else, let's go. So after this, we have, okay, this one was this. Then it says, for next class, class number 8 is the last class. Watch the following video, and be ready to explain the class what is the technique. The technique tell, show, do for in the next class. So this is what we're going to be working next class. If you want to come, you are more than welcome. Okay. Now, what you have here, you have the homework. Okay, the homework that you need to work on, and we have here. Let me open it for you so you can see it well. So it says you have the PowerPoint presentation. The thing is that the PowerPoint presentation, we have a video. We have to complete the test of this model, and then we invite you to visit the virtual library for anything that you need. Let's take a look at the information about the homework. So you can see it and then we can go with it. Give me a second. What you can do and what you cannot do right now. So you need to work on a PowerPoint. And that PowerPoint is about the importance of being authentic when dealing with adult learners, okay? This is something that we kind of saw right now. However, I advise you to go to Google or things like that, and then you look for the information, and then you create a PowerPoint presentation. All the information that you need about this, it's right here, okay? It says, include one illustration, give 3 reasons why authenticity is important in the classroom. It has to have between 5 and 10 slides. It needs to have an introduction and a conclusion about authenticity. Then you have a video to watch. And then this one, it's about the topic that we are going to be checking next week, sorry. Okay, so you can wait for that to happen in order to work on this, but you can advance the order in the meantime. And then later you have the test. Don't do the test until you have done what you have to do, okay? Now, give me a second, just in case when you watch this video, I wanted to remind you of something. Give me a moment. Here you have something that is called valoración estudiantil, and this is 5% of your, final grade, okay? So this is loading. It's important that you do it, okay, before you end the course. Because if not, you are going to miss those 5 points in your final grade. So please take the time. We finish the next week. So as soon as we finish, you go ahead and you go and do your valoración estudiantil. It's not open at this moment. So there is nothing I can do about it. So that would be it for the moment. I'm very happy to have been here with you. I'm sorry again about my lateness. And if you have any question or anything, because I haven't seen your test done or either your test or your homework done, please do it, send it so I can grade it for you as soon as possible. And if you need any help, just chat me through the forum, consultation forum, or send me an email through the email in the platform, okay? Thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope I can see you next week to finish on your way to your diploma, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Rafa, terminamos. ¿Me pareció que te perdí por un segundo?
Sí, como que se me fue la señal, pero regresó rápido. Sí, sí.
Ok, perfecto. Terminamos
Listo,
por hoy.
profesora. Sí, si no tenemos más consultas o aportes, damos como finalizada la sesión de esta noche. Tengan todos
Muchísimas
una excelente noche y un excelente fin de semana. Gracias, profesora.
gracias a ti, que estés muy bien. Bye bye.
Igual.